I am cautioning you people against the evil designs of these Banias over and over again. All of you, the Hindus, the Muslims, the Britishers and others, should make joint efforts to dismantle their sin in the interest of the well-being of your coming generations. There should not be any delay in it. I have already written about the real problem. I hope you will act accordingly and see that the diabolic operation of these Saudagars is brought to an end so that the people of the world could get a sigh of relief. That will also release the money which the Banias have collected by committing fraud on the people. There is no harm if the money goes back to the people. During Ravana's times, people were aware of the existence of the precious mines. You should also not lose sight of them in spite of the diabolism of the Banias. Like the people of the earlier times, you should keep track of these mines. Your successful efforts directed against this diabolic practice will make the reappearance of these precious mines possible. You must understand that just as at present quarries and mines of stones and earth are found almost everywhere, in the same way there existed gold and silver mines till the times of Raja Bal. Since the time the Banias have started practicing diabolism, earth has become sick and the gold and silver mines have dried up and disappeared. If these Saudagars stop performing their sinful rites, the gold and silver mines will reappear gradually and will be as common as the quarries of stones and earth. These non-precious mines are existing because they are not the target of the diabolic rites. If they had made these mines the target of their diabolic rites, they too would have disappeared. Under the diabolic influence of the Banias, people are not able to think properly, and so they have forgotten all about these mines. The Banias have created this sort of forgetfulness in you people in order to grab your money. By their diabolic power, they cause earth to split, and through the chasm, they drain the money out. This process makes earth tremble. They are draining the money and wealth of all the countries by their diabolic force. A small portion of the total money is left in these countries. The little money that is left with the countries will also be pocketed by them through business and trade. After they have possessed the entire money of the world, they will establish their rule over the world. It is a well-known fact that these Banias are drawing the major part of the world's riches. Each country is left with a comparatively small amount of money to meet their necessities. They have very cunningly made it known to the world that only one part of the wealth is available to the people of the world, and 12 parts of it are buried underground. So the entire wealth is in 13 parts. They refer to the 13 parts of wealth as 13 tumbas of measure. This 13 tumbas of wealth is the ready money. This ready money has been there for a very long time, but the Banias have usurped this money by means of diabolism. The rest of the money meant for daily necessities will also be grabbed by them by trickery. These Banias have created confusion in the minds of the people by their diabolism and have convinced them that the entire wealth is in 13 parts. Only one part of it is available with the people for meeting their necessities, and the remaining 12 parts of it are lying underground. Thus, they have tricked the people into believing that only one part of the wealth is available to them and the rest is hidden underground. My dear brothers, there was unlimited wealth on the ground, But to fool the people, they have mentioned in the books that the entire wealth is contained in 13 tumbas. In fact, out of 13 parts of the world's riches, 12 parts are in the custody of these banias, which they have stored secretly underground. They have spared only one part of it for others in the world. That too is in name only. Otherwise, for all practical purposes, it belongs to them only. That one part of the wealth is shared by all the kings and other common people of the world. The Banias have held even that one tumba of wealth in their control. Now it is important to know who has buried that money in 12 parts, which they say is lying hidden underground. If that money had been buried by the ancestors of the Hindus and the Muslims, we, the Hindus and the Muslims, would have some trace about it, because in that case, our ancestors would surely have told their children about this fact. This is nothing but fraud being played by these Banias. It is they who have secretly stored this money, and only they know about it. The elders of the Banias are in the know of this secret. They reveal this secret only to their descendants before leaving this world. In order to ensure that nobody gets wind of their secret, they have spared a small part of the entire wealth for others in every country. The remaining 12 parts of the wealth are in their exclusive custody. What I mean to say is that all activities of fraud and deception currently going on in the world are the consequence of the diabolic practice of the Banias. People have lost their faculty of reasoning under their diabolic influence, and as such, they are unable to see through the diabolic game of the Banias. They are confused and at their wits' end. They do not recall that once there was unlimited wealth in the world. Gold and silver and things made of these precious metals were available in abundance. Where has all that affluence gone? Nobody bothers. The ancient records show that things of common use are made of gold, which we do not find today. The reason is that these Banias have destroyed the thinking faculty of the people by their diabolic power and have captured the entire riches of the world, leaving a small part of it for the people of the world so that they can meet their minimum necessities and their secret does not come to light. Even that money they will grab by creating feuds among the people of the world, leaving them poor and destitute. After the death of Raja Bal, they have been bringing rulers of other empires to India. First, they brought the Meccites and provoked them to kill the Indian people while they remained unscathed. The Meccites, Mughal rulers, unfortunately did not find it intriguing that the Banias were getting so much respect and attention from the Hindus and the Muslims, and in spite of this, they were provoking them, the Meccites, to kill the Hindus and the Muslims. They should have ascertained from the Banias themselves its reason and also whether they were practicing some kind of black magic. But things like that never come in the minds of the foreign rulers. The reason is that when they plan to bring a foreign ruler to India, they brainwash him thoroughly with their diabolism. As a result, he cannot think anything about it, or if at all, he thinks just the opposite. So all the rulers of foreign lands brought to India are first made to undergo a brainwashing so that under that spell, they will create infighting among the people of India and ultimately bring about their own destruction. The Banias have planned that the foreign rulers, under their diabolic influence, will do whatever they would want them to. Besides, they will take in their possession the wealth of the foreign rulers which they have left in their respective countries. Accordingly, by their diabolism, they have seized the wealth of the Mughal rulers who had been brought to rule this country for some time. Meanwhile, the Baniyas obtained a detailed information about the countries of the Mughal rulers, their cities, their lanes and by-lanes. The Mughal rulers took away with them the money and wealth they had amassed in India. The Baniyas planned to grab even that money by trickery. They were confident in their plan because those rulers had already lost their intellectual faculty. They thought that they would go to the countries of the Mughal rulers and open their business establishments there and thus get back the wealth of their country, India. This is how these Baniyas go to other countries and spoil the intellect of their people. Then they grab their money and force them to starve. When the rulers and the people of these countries are on the verge of starvation, the Baniyas lure them to go and rule India for her immense riches. They fall in the trap laid by the Baniyas. Then the Baniyas spoil their intellectual faculty and take the wealth of their respective countries in their possession. They create rivalry and enmity among the foreign rulers as well as the Indian people and thus establish their monopoly over their wealth and their regimes. They foresee a situation in which the number of other people in different countries will be reduced to minority whom they will rule. It is with this motive that the Baniyas have started practicing Indrajal. This mystic rite has caused wars. Otherwise, why should people fight and kill each other? These Baniyas destroy the rational faculty of the people and create tension among them by their diabolism. They create feuds among the Hindus and the Muslims while keeping themselves at a safe distance. This is all due to the Indrajal of the Baniyas. It is this Indrajal which has robbed the world of its splendor and riches marked by abundance of gold and silver. The money and wealth that the Mughal rulers had taken away with them must have been grabbed by these Baniyas after a generation or two, or at the most after 10 generations by means of their diabolic feet. It is unfortunate that the Mughal rulers did not think for a while that the Baniyas, at whose allurement they were going to rule India, would soon appropriate the wealth of their own countries. In fact, they had to pay for their excessive greediness in invading other countries and establishing their rule in those countries. The Mughal rulers had ruled this country for about 10 generations or so, but their greed of ruling India cost them the wealth and the rule of their own countries. They had to lose far more wealth and money than the wealth and money they took away from India. It was the result of their greed. If they had not been greedy, they would not have suffered loss to this extent. It is due to their greed that the Baniyas have grabbed their entire wealth by their diabolic power. The Mughals, like the Indian people, are starving. They might have taken 6 annas out of a rupee, and even that money was grabbed by the Baniyas. They have caused famine and drought and grabbed the money of those who were destroyed by these calamities. It is also said that there are countries which are completely desolate. You will find just a couple of huts within a radius of 40 to 50 or 60 to 80 miles. People say that towards Hinglaj and the 7 islands, the countries are lying deserted. These Baniyas have contaminated whatever little groundwater is available. It has turned saline and it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. It is unfit even for irrigation, and as a result, the crops are damaged. They have caused illness to Mother Earth by practicing diabolism, and consequently, in a number of countries the quality of water has degraded. It is just like this: when a man becomes ill, his blood gets infected. Similarly, when Mother Earth is ill, her blood too gets infected. That's why the wells have dried up. There are countries in which one can get potable water after treading a distance of about 24 miles and sometimes 60 to 80 miles. The level of water has gone down to 70 to 80 puras, about 400 feet deep. In a number of countries, just one source of water is available within a radius of about 24 miles, and that too is saline. As a result, nothing grows on the land, not even grass. You cannot imagine the problems being faced by the people living in those countries. A number of countries on the 7 islands are completely desolate. They have been made so by the Baniyas. But under their diabolic influence, people think that those countries are desolate and very few live in them because God has willed so. One should think that God is one and the same. He has created the whole universe. How can He destroy what He has made with His own hands? When you plant a tree, you will not pull it out with your hands, nor will you destroy it. How can then God destroy His own creation? He will not do any such thing and let it complete its life. When autumn comes, the trees begin to shed their leaves on their own. Please note that the leaves, after completing their lifespan, dropped from the trees when autumn has set in, and nobody feels sorry for the pale leaves, because with the coming of autumn, their days were over. And when autumn comes, spring can not be far behind. But imagine a situation in which, because of spring season, a tree is in full bloom and leaves are swaying. If somebody in that spring season plucks the leaves of trees, how will its owner react? He will certainly take exception and even abuse that person. He would not allow anybody to harm that tree. It is so because its owner had planted that tree for shade and for beautifying his house. Just as you love anything you have made with your own hands, in the same way, God loves His creation. He likes His creation and would not damage it. He is all merciful, and once He creates anything, He will let it live its full life. But the Baniyas would not allow anything to complete its lifespan. By practicing diabolism, they are ruining the world and its people. While they do so, they suggest to the people that it is due to the curse of a deity that people are dying. When deadly epidemics take a heavy toll of human life, they make people believe that it is an act of God. It is true that not a leaf turns without God's will. God, the Almighty, is all merciful. He does not give any pain to anybody, nor does He want anybody to die before He completes his lifespan. It is these unscrupulous Baniyas who are causing death to people prematurely and suggest to them that everything is happening according to the will of God and that it is the curse of the deities which is responsible for the death and destruction. They in fact secretly desire to rule the world in the same way as Ravana ruled the world long back. They make people believe that it is due to the curse of the deities that hundreds of countries have been destroyed by deadly epidemics. But it is the curse of the Baniyas and not of the deities. A person who is dead cannot do anything. It is the trickery of the Baniyas that they ascribe these tragic happenings to the deities who are dead and gone. In fact, they are immortal in the sense that they have been true devotees of God, and people will always remember them. These unscrupulous people have impoverished the people of India and also the Mughal rulers by means of a million variety of trickery and deception. They now intend to impoverish the land of the British people. For this purpose, they approached the British rulers and asked them to take the reins of this country in their hands, and so at present they are ruling India. Before these Banias brought the Britishers to India, they must have drawn the wealth of their country by their diabolic power. With their magic power, they can do anything. They can take the wealth of any country in their possession by this magic power. The rulers of earlier times used to condemn black magic, which was considered to be an evil practice. So when the Banias approached the rulers of different countries to come and rule India, they dispossessed them of their wealth as a first step. They suffer from poverty and starvation. The Mecca people, the Mughals, and then the Britishers came to India to rule this country. The Britishers are still ruling India. They will rule for some more time. Though their plight is a generation or two old, as they are conscious, yet it has been planted in their mind that they have been in this situation for a long time. There was no dearth of money and wealth in any country. In fact, all the countries had riches in abundance. Money or wealth cannot simply stage a walkout. In fact, these Saudagars have already possessed the real assets of the three empires, and now they intend to possess the money which is with the people. They will make the kings and the rulers of other countries poor and bring them to India when they are on the verge of starvation. After they have come to India and established their rule in this country, their children will be done to death. I hope the people of the world, including the Britishers, must have heard that now the Russians are planning to come to India. Just think, how do the Russians know about our country? How can people of other countries come to rule this country unless they are tempted to do so? They cannot come on their own. They will come in the same way as the Mughals and the Britishers come here. The Russians too will come at the invitation of these Banias, and come they will, for these Banias might have grabbed their wealth 2 or 3 generations back. The remaining money will also be grabbed by them by way of trade and business. They will impoverish them too, as they have impoverished others, the Mughals and the Britishers. In their case too, the Banias might have suggested to them that their poverty was age-old. It is certain that they want to bring the Russians to rule India. I am cautioning you, the Hindus, the Muslims and the Britishers, against the game plan of the Banias. While I guard you against this diabolic practice, I want you to do something to do away with their sinful activity so that everybody is happy and all the countries enjoy prosperity. The diabolism practiced by these Banias in the present age has brought miseries to the humanity. When these foreign powers will rule these countries, the miseries of the people will be multiplied by the activities of the Banias. The Russians too, influenced by the Banias, will not pay heed to the problems of the Indians, the Hindus and the Muslims. You should therefore impress upon the Russians and the rulers of other countries not to fall in the trap of temptation laid by these Banias. No ruler, whether Hindu or Muslim, has unrolled red carpet for these foreign rulers. It is these Banias who conspired among themselves to bring rulers of other countries to wipe out the Hindus and the Muslims of the country. They, like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, etc., intend to ruin all the countries by tempting their rulers to rule India. All of you, the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, and others, should therefore persuade the Russians to desist from the temptation of invading India. Take steps to dismantle the diabolic operation of these Banias. Trust me and warn people against their diabolic literature. Try to discover the venue of their diabolic operation and dismantle it. That will provide a great deal of relief to one and all. If you fail to act, they will destroy the wisdom of the people by their diabolism and will create feuds among the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, and others, and people of all the countries will start fighting and killing each other. They bring the foreigners to rule India, so some action is urgently needed to foil their designs. They are busy performing diabolic rites day and night. These Banias have grabbed the treasures of the kings and the rulers. For this, they cause the earth to split by their diabolism and then draw the wealth kept in their treasure chests to the place of their diabolic rite. That place is located in an island. A number of people belonging to their clan are living there. They perform their diabolic rite by tormenting 84 lakh living beings on as many kundis set up there. This ritual involves an expenditure of crores of rupees. The Banias are spending their money in this ritual. That place where 84 lakh kundis are located is accessible to the Banias and no one else. The island in which they are performing this mystic rite is surrounded by a vast expanse of the sea covering an area of thousands of miles. By means of their diabolism, they have acquired huge wealth which is many times more than that in possession of all the kings and the rulers of the world. These Banias, by their diabolic power, make people kill each other and take away their thinking faculty so that they forget all about their hidden and readily available wealth. Why is it that once they had so much money and now very little of it has been left? This question does not seem to bother them. They are rather made to think that they have more money than their forefathers had. Even those who have very little money think so. It is because the Banias exert their diabolic influence in the people who think only on the lines suggested to them. This is sheer trickery of the Banias. Otherwise, the fact is that once there was a surfeit of wealth in all the countries. So, dear brethren, it is a fact that there was a time when you had immeasurable riches, but these Banias have caused ruination to the whole world by their diabolic power and usurped the wealth. You, the people of the world, are completely unaware of their evil designs. I happen to know about their diabolic practice because they have practiced their diabolism on me, causing me a lot of torment. Shanishara was similarly tortured by Ravana. My concern for humanity has motivated me to caution the people of the world against the diabolism of these Banias so that the impending danger could be avoided. In fact, this age-old practice of diabolism was started by the Banias themselves. One can deduce from this that the end of Ravana and others might have been caused by the Banias by means of their diabolism. I am not unaware of their secret. They have tormented me, and that's why I know for certain that this black art was originated by them. To substantiate this surmise, I can say that these Baniyas might be making use of the kings and the rulers for effecting their diabolic operation so that their role is not known to the people. Only a fragment of their sinful act is assigned to others, while the substance remains with them. Accordingly, they might have taught Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Karun, and others only a part of their diabolism, while keeping the essential part of this operation unto themselves. Then, this is to be noted that those who practiced diabolism in the earlier times were exposed, and people of the whole world finished off the perpetrators of this sinful act as well as the sin itself. They did not spare even the children of the sinners, so that nobody will ever practice diabolism in the world and people live a happy and prosperous life. But diabolism is still being practiced and nothing has been done to dismantle it, as I have already said. If it was not their doing, they would not have continued with that, and they would think that, like Ravana and others, they would be done to death if they dared practice this sinful activity. Clearly, this sinful activity is the handiwork of these people. We do not want to be the practitioners of this sin, and so they teach this black art to others. As such, they remain unblemished while the axe falls on the children of others. Thus, they are practicing this sinful activity ceaselessly by using others as front. They already have ruined this country by their diabolism, and now they intend to ruin other countries. I know this fact because they have tormented me by their diabolism in a variety of ways. That's how I come to know about their secret ritual, about which I have written in detail. Unfortunately, so the Hindus and the Muslims of this country are completely unaware of it. People do not bother to think about, nor do they believe in what is told to them. They behave like a drunkard who cannot think properly. Such a person is not aware of what is happening to him, nor can he perform any of his domestic duties. The diabolism has impacted people's minds so much that they are unable to identify the sinful activities of the Baniyas in spite of my telling them about it. People are suffering day and night. People are suffering day in and day out on account of the diabolism of these Saudagars. Though all others are as humankind as these Saudagars are, yet they do not know the secret of the diabolic practice of the Saudagars. They pretend to be friendly with others but would not let anybody know about their diabolism. They have destroyed the wisdom of the people of the world, and so they, the people, do not have any inkling of their activities of the Baniyas. They do not suspect them either. The Baniyas have set up their business establishments in different countries of the world. The way they have destroyed the wisdom of the people of India, they would, in the same way, destroy the thinking faculty of the people in other parts of the world by their demoniac power. None of you will even know about their mysterious ways, nor will you doubt their intention. Therefore, I want to forewarn you about their motive and tell you that they have acquired a magic power by means of which they can secretly take away the wealth of any country they choose. Before that, they captivate the thinking faculty of the people of that country, as a result of which they forget all about their nation's wealth. They will soon destroy the thinking faculty of the people in those countries and ruin them, just as they did with the people of India. They will then rule the world. They have not shown any consideration for those who were born in their country. How can then they show any kindness to the people of their parts of the world? They will rather ruin you, the people of the world, and continue to practice tribalism unhindered. They won't disclose it either. Like Ravana, their objective is to rule throughout the length and breadth of the world. Like Ravana, they are performing a mystic rite across the seas. They will ruin all the kings and the rulers in all the 7 or 8 continents, including the Britishers. In order to cloak their activities, they will motivate the people of the world to practice a bit of this mystic rite and guide them in this activity. People will then follow suit. They think that when the world will know about this practice of tribalism, nobody will know about their role in it. People would rather take it as their own doing and would do nothing to stop it. Thus, their sinful activity will continue and flourish. If at all it comes to light, those practicing it at their instance will be held responsible, and like the children of Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, only their children will be done to death. With this intention, these Saudagars are teaching their black art to the people of other countries while keeping themselves at a safe distance. They keep the essential part of their sinful act unto themselves and would not let anybody get wind of it. They neither teach that essential part nor disclose it to anybody. I know about it because they have tormented me by their tribalism. I feel concern for the children of the world, and therefore it is my humble submission to the people of all the continents that the so-called religious texts that are found in the homes of the Hindus and the Muslims are full of ominous predictions such as man will eat up man. These books are the product of the Baniyas who have surreptitiously mentioned the names of the pious ancestors of both communities and placed these books in their homes. People are blindly following these books. Little do they realize that they are the product of the Mahajans who have already ruined India by their tribalism, and now they intend to ruin other countries as well. I am deeply concerned to find that till now you people do not have any idea about the secret designs of these Baniyas. I tell you, the people of all the 7 or 8 continents, that all the calamities of the world, including premature deaths, are due to the tribalism being practiced by the Baniyas. A lot of damage has already been done to India, and whatever is left will soon be ruined by them. That's why I want to caution you against their evil designs. Try to understand what I am telling you and do not fall a prey to their temptation. Rather, be resolute to dismantle their diabolic operation so that all of us, people of all the continents, are relieved of their atrocities. If it is not done, the Saudagars will ruin the whole world by their diabolic power, and the predictions made in these books will come true. When all the 7 or 8 continents have been ruined, these Saudagars will rule the world. That is the purpose behind their practicing tribalism. It is therefore incumbent on you, the people of all the countries, including the Britishers, to take steps to dismantle their sinful operation in the interest of the safety and well-being of your children. Only then the people of India will get rid of the sinful web of these Baniyas. Otherwise, there is no hope, because they have captivated the intellect of all the kings and the rulers. The latter do not understand the gravity of situation. The Baniyas have spoiled the thinking of all of you living in different countries because they want to rule the whole world unchallenged. You people whose intellect has been captivated by them, do not try to find out where the gold and silver mines, which once were there, have gone. Earth is the same, but mines have disappeared. Where? Why don't you search for them? Nobody in any country seems to be doing so. They do not even think why and how those mines have disappeared. It is glaring negligence on your part. You do not feel like doing so because the Banyas have brainwashed you. Rather, you seem to believe that there never were these mines. Let me tell you that these mines of gold and silver were very much there in every country from time immemorial. These mines served as the essential fat in the body of earth, but ever since these Banyas have started the diabolic rite targeted against Mother Earth, the essential fat of earth has dried up, and as a result, Mother Earth is suffering a lot. Earth has lost her productivity. There is not enough food. Very frequently, drought and famine are occurring. This is all due to diabolism. If there is good rainfall, they cause some abnormality. If there is good rainfall, they cause some abnormality which upsets the digestive system of earth, resulting in overall weakness. And as such, production of food grains and other items of human consumption has gone down. This is comparable to a situation in which a person afflicted by some disease can neither eat nor work properly. Even if he eats food, he cannot digest it. He suffers a lot and becomes unfit for doing anything. Similarly, Mother Earth is suffering from a number of ailments and has become unfit for producing things. These Saudagars are increasing the intensity of their diabolic rite against Mother Earth, and as a result, she is losing her productivity. In that situation, people of the world will have nothing to eat. When there will be no food, man will eat man. All these frightening prognoses are given in these books, namely Avatar Charitra and others. In order to hide their identity and also their activities, these Saudagars have given the names of the sages of the ancient times as the writers of these books. They are adopting the same tactics as Ravana did when he circulated books to spread his network of diabolic operation and placed them in the hands of the great sages, ascribing their authorship to the ancestors of those sages. The same kind of network has been spread by these Saudagars after the death of Raja Bal by circulating books and almanacs of demoniac content among the Brahmins and the ruling elites whose ancestors are credited with their authorship. People of the world regard these books as their religious texts and follow them. They do not realize that these books are the product of the Saudagars, and the names of their ancestors given in them are meant to deceive them and to keep their sinful activity as a closely guarded secret. They are performing the mystic rite in order to ruin the world. The books such as Avatar Charitra make ominous predictions of a frightening time which I cannot write about over and over again. It is such a depressing experience to read the contents of these books that I feel like ending my life by consuming poison rather than staying alive to witness that horrible time. People do not understand the gravity of situation in spite of my trying hard, though they know it well that things are getting from bad to worse day by day. We hear of moral values becoming the casualty, but nobody seems to bother. I want that the rulers and the common people of the world should listen to me and unitedly take all possible steps to put an end to the diabolic operation of these Saudagars. then nobody will die at a young age, as is happening now, owing to the diabolism of the Saudagars. People know it, and still they are suffering silently. They are treating the contents of these books as the words of God. They trust their authenticity. The predictions of calamities and miseries made in these books are converted into a reality by them, the Saudagars, by performing diabolic rite. Thus, these books win the trust of the people. My dear brethren, you have faith in these books which predict miseries and misfortunes. Let me tell you, these books are not the creation of God. They are the creation of these Saudagars who have cunningly given the names of the ancestors of the Hindus and the Muslims as their authors. The purpose is that, in case an attempt is made to trace the source of these books, nobody will hold them responsible for this and others will share the blame. Brothers, the predictions in these books by themselves will have no effect, but the diabolic rite being performed by the Banias on the 84 lakh kundis filled with blood and pus located at an island across the seas causes miseries and misfortunes. The people of the world believe that the place where these 84 lakh kundis are located is either Swarga, heaven, or Naraka, hell. I want to tell them that there is no such thing as the Swarga or the Naraka. It is only Mother Earth everywhere. It is only Mother Earth. It is only Mother Earth everybody knows about. It is the diabolism of the Banias which causes miseries in the world and makes the ominous predictions of the books a reality. The Avatar Charitra, for instance, predicts that a frightening time is about to come. Accordingly, the Banias will perform a ritual to that effect. Now that I am cautioning the people of the world, telling them openly about the sinful acts of the Banias, they are not prepared to listen to me. They believe in the prognosis made in the books and are not convinced that the Banias have a hand in them. They say that these prognoses have been made by their own ancestors. The reason is simple. The Banias, by their diabolic power, have captivated the wisdom of the people who think that these books of demoniac content belong to their own ancestors. Dear brothers, these books do not belong to you. They are the product of the Banias. Since they do not want their role to be exposed, they have mentioned the names of your ancestors as their authors. Ravana had adopted the similar modus operandi. You should therefore avoid reading these books and ask others who have these books to treat them with the contempt they deserved. Once their diabolic operation is dismantled, it will be a great relief to the people of the world. It is therefore my humble request to the British rulers to have trust in me. I have equal respect for all the rulers of the world, including the Indian rulers, who are my protectors. And so I tell them that the ancient black art is practiced secretly by the Indian Mahajans or Saudagars. They are practicing this black magic non-stop, but nobody has noticed their involvement in it. The Saudagars had shared their knowledge of diabolism, albeit partly with Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Karun, Prithviraj Chauhan and others, telling them that by practicing it, they will be able to establish their rule all over the universe. So they share only a part of their knowledge with others while retaining its core unto themselves. The demon kings and others who had picked up this art from the Saudagars thought that they were the originators of this diabolic practice and not the real culprits, the Banias. Thus Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Karun, Prithviraj Chauhan, and others were caught in this web and killed, while the Saudagars escaped unhurt. Let us ponder over the fact that others, who too are humankind like the Saudagars and Mahajans, could never get wind of their secret activity. It was they who had to bear the brunt of people's wrath. Those who had picked up a fraction of the diabolic practice from the Saudagars, their names have been associated with this sinful activity. This is how these Saudagars ignite the fire and manage to remain unscathed. Others are ruined as a result of infighting, while the real culprits are revered as the pious and upright persons. People do not know about their network of sin, nor will they ever come to know. Thus, hundreds of innocent people have been done to death for the sins of these Banias. Their sin is continuing unabated, and no one has even a lurking suspicion about their misdeeds. Like Ravana, these Saudagars plan to delude the people of all the 7 or 8 continents so that they continue to remain in the dark. I therefore forewarn you, the people of all the countries and continents, including the British people, against the diabolic practice of these Banias, which has taken a toll of hundreds of people in India. Their next target is the people of the rest of the countries, including the Britishers. They may even teach you some rudiments of their diabolic practice. However, they will never tell you the crucial part of it. It is also not surprising that they may have already taught you, the Britishers, this black art. Maybe they have not. In fact, they tell others that the Britishers are demons, and it is they who practice diabolism, as a result of which there is scanty rainfall. People have lost their sense of judgment, and epidemics have broken out. The Banias perform the actual rite themselves, but in order to avoid the focus of attention on them, they discreetly teach others some part of it by giving them the temptation of ruling the land. They fall in the trap and, like Ravana, start practicing diabolism. It is, however, not known how they teach others this black art. There is no knowing of the secret designs of these wretched Saudagars. They are many and varied. These Saudagars encourage others to learn this black art and to create their own Swarga, a place of ritual. Gripped by the temptation, they learn it a little bit and think that they are the actual practitioners of diabolism. They do not realize that they have been deluded, and the core of diabolism is in the custody of the Banias. Even the great sages of the earlier times knew nothing about it. Rather, they were caught in the web and killed. Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and others were also under the misconception that they were the real operators of diabolism, and so they had a tragic end. The practice of diabolism, which had destroyed the intellect of even the divine souls, is known all over the world. Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and others who thought that the Swarga was their creation became a victim of their avarice, while the real perpetrators of the sin were unharmed. Those who picked up the black art from the Banias were killed, and their names have stuck to the nefarious practice. At the behest of the Banias, they indulged in the sinful activity which brought disaster to them and their offspring. When none of them could get at the secret of their diabolic rite, how can you then have access to it? They will create confusion in your mind, and you, the Britishers, will begin to aspire to rule the entire universe. They will impair your thinking, and in that state of delusion, you will set up the Swarga Naraka, the infrastructure of the diabolic rite, at their behest. Maybe you have already done so, but even if you have not, they will make you do it now. One thing you do not think about it is that diabolism has the power to destroy the intellect of the people of the world. You do not think that your thinking power has been destroyed by diabolism. In earlier times, a number of kings and rulers were killed as a result of this diabolic practice. No one could put an end to this sinful activity. You must realize that it is these Mahajans who have caused death to the holy men of earlier eras by their mystic rite. They will now kill you, the British people, bereft of the thinking faculty. You do not suspect that they might kill you too. You have come from a foreign land, and so you are not familiar with their lanes and bylanes. So when they caused death to the people of their own country by their diabolism, and the people were totally in the dark about it, how can you then expect to discover their secret activity? Rather, they will cause delusion and death to you by their diabolism, just as they did with Ravana and Hiranyakashipu. When only a few people will be left in India and in other countries, they will establish their empire. That's why I am making an appeal to the people of different countries, including the British people, to arise and dismantle the sinful operation of the Baniyas. That alone will guarantee the safety and security of the children of India. Otherwise, there is no hope whatsoever. They are cunning enough not to execute their plan directly. Instead, they teach the rulers of other countries their black art and motivate them to annihilate a large section of population by stirring their greed to rule this country. After these foreign rulers have ruled the country for 2 or 3 or even 10 generations, they are betrayed and rulers of some other country are set upon them. Supported by these unscrupulous people, the rulers of some other country decimate their predecessors and establish their own rule. The new rulers rejoice their achievement, while the condition of the vanquished rulers becomes so pitiable that their children face acute destitution. Now that I have disclosed the nefarious designs of these Saudagars, they will now fuddle your mind and make you practice diabolism. Like this, they will destroy all the countries to usurp political and economic power. In the interest of your own children, you should not fall in the trap of these unscrupulous Baniyas by practicing diabolism. Instead, you should make efforts to dismantle their sinful operation. It is, if as a result of diabolic operation, there will be few people left in the world who will then come to the rescue of your children. Therefore, you should immediately put an end to this nefarious practice. As long as your children are safe, you will be remembered by people. An offspring signifies continuity or immortality. The human race will remain as long as earth and the sky exist. Since the time this Kafir Vidya, the science of the infidel, started, people have been dying without an offspring. They die at a very young age. This is all due to diabolism. The proliferation of snakes, scorpions, and insects inside earth is the result of a variety of diseases. These insects eat into the earth's innards and make her hollow. It can be likened to a situation in which a human being afflicted by some disease develops thousands of worms and insects in his abdomen. They cause him a lot of suffering. Besides, trees and food grains are also damaged by the insects. Diabolism is the root cause of this environmental disaster. Prognoses to this effect are made in the almanacs, etc., which are read out by the Brahmins. God has created human beings, animals, and birds. He will never cause any suffering to them. There was a time when a lion and a goat, the most ferocious and the meekest, flocked together. This bonhomie is missing today. The reason is not far to seek. These Saudagars have spoiled the thinking of all living beings by their diabolic power and divested them of the feelings of compassion, love, and affection. My concern for the well-being of your children has driven me to educate you about the black magic being practiced by the Mahajans. I want you to believe me and take action to wipe out their sin so that your children may live in peace. By so doing, you will be avoiding disaster that may befall the people of other countries. Your concerted efforts can yield the desired result. In fact, these Baniyas are the culprits of the people of all the countries, including you, the British people.